Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali. Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali Dikshita Brahma Satrena Sarvabhutatmamedhasa Pratichyamni Shivedayam Siddho Bhuryatra Jajali Dikshita being determined Brahma Satrena by understanding of the Supreme Spirit Sarva all Bhuta living entities Atmamedhasa considering like oneself Pratichyam in the western Dishi direction Vedayam on the seashore Siddha perfect Ahut became Yatra where Jajali the great sage Jajali.
The Prachetas went to the seashore in the west, where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting the spiritual knowledge by which one becomes equal toward all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. Purport by His divine grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. The word Brahmasatra means cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Actually, both the Vedas and severe austerity are Vedas tattvam tapo Brahma. Brahma also means the absolute truth. One has to cultivate knowledge of the absolute truth by pursuing studies in the Vedas and undergoing severe austerities and penances. The Prachetas properly executed this function and consequently became equal to all other living entities. And as Bhagavad Gita 1854 confirms, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nasochuti Nakamsha Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Bhaktin Bhavate Param. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. When one actually becomes spiritually vast, he does not see the difference between one living entity and another. This platform is attained by determination. When perfect knowledge is expanded, one ceases to see the outward covering of the living entity. He sees rather the spirit soul within the body. Thus, he does not make distinctions between a human being and an animal, a learned Brahmin and a Chandala. Vidyavanaya Sambhave Bhami Shuri Chaya Svabhakyasha Amrita Samdarshana. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Obvious. Bhagavad Gita 5:18. A learned person sees everyone equally on a spiritual basis. And a learned person, a devotee, wants to see everyone developed in Krishna consciousness. The place where the Prachetas were residing was perfect for executing spiritual activities. For it is indicated that the great sage Jajali attained mukti, liberation, there. One desiring perfection or liberation should associate with a person who is already liberated. This is called Sadhu Sanga, associating with a perfect.
स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथामह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine
The Prachetas went to the seashore in the west, where the great liberated sage Jajali was residing. After perfecting the spiritual knowledge by which one becomes equal toward all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. I am sincerely grateful to be among all of you. So many thousands of worshipful devotees gathered in one place. This is truly Sadhu Sanga. My very heartfelt gratitude to His Holiness Saint Swami Maharaj, the whole team of devotees who have organized and facilitated us to come together. Sankirtan is the supreme yajna, or spiritual sacrifice, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. To bring us together with such organization, such nice prasad, to attract so many sincere devotees. I believe it takes all year of planning. It's how grateful we are. And His Holiness Saint Maharaj, although it takes all year to arrange for this, he is doing all over the world the same thing. And the Himalayas, in Europe, in Poland. So we are very grateful. Just this morning, I was hearing a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. And this particular lecture is so all-encompassing and so much just awakens the essence within our hearts. Srila Prabhupada was at the Radhanath temple. Just imagine Srila Prabhupada's feeling of compassion. For so many years he lived at the Radhanath temple in Vrindavan, preparing for this, what he called an impossible mission that his Guru Maharaj had invented. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, they gave us the direction to spread the glories and the holy names of Krishna Sankirtan in every town and village throughout the world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur envisioned at a time when India was still under the British regime, a little house near the bank of the Chalani in the Ganga. At that time, Mayapur was just some paddy fields, mostly occupied by people of another faith. And yet, it was a vision and it was a dream that sincere devotees from all parts of the world came together to chant the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And his beloved son, the founder Acharya of all Gaudiya monks, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that was so much his aim. All of our acharyas, they provided transcendental literatures with a profound spiritual foundation by which people can understand who am I? Why am I suffering? Why everyone has to inevitably suffer? What is real happiness? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? What is the actual goal and meaning of life? In 1922, in Calcutta, upon the very first moment of their meeting, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada gave our Srila Prabhupada this instruction. You are intelligent young man. Bring the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the whole world in the English language. That time Srila Prabhupada was married. He just had his first child. In fact, he was very active in Mahatma Gandhi's movement, which was for liberation from subjugating foreign powers. And when he presented Sri Gandhi's argument, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he explained the real problems of life are birth, old age, disease, and death. Whoever's in power, these are the problems that we have to solve. The real solution is Krishna consciousness. To understand loving devotional service to cannot wait for differences and different circumstances and situations in this world. This is a very powerful statement. Individually and collectively, we have this ingrained propensities that we want to put the most essential duty of our life, Sanatana Dharma, until something else is resolved or something else is achieved. This type of spiritual procrastination, when things get better, when people get better, when health gets better, there are limitless circumstances that material energy can put before us, either to break our faith and just think that I'm a devotee and still I'm suffering. Maybe I should try something else. Maybe I should go somewhere else. Or the world is in such a situation. When things get better, then we can do. The situation in this world are always changing. Everything is non-permanent. But the one thing that is consistent is the calling of the soul back home, back to Godhead, to Krishna. The real Anandamayo Yashat, pleasure that everyone is seeking. So, Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj told him now is the time. You know, this is the urgent need forever. Srila Prabhupada, in his responsibility to his Dharma as a Grihastha, his occupation, he carried on, but he was always preparing for the right time. And eventually, after he retired from everything else, he came to Vrindavan, where his preparation was to give the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam to him. Throughout the night, the early morning, throughout the day, he just had this very simple manual typewriter. He would read the verse. He would hear from all the great previous acharyas who commented on Srimad Bhagavatam. And then, through his own supremely compassionate nature, he presented the very essence to us. He put so much of his heart, so much of his soul in the very heart of Vrindavan, where the six Goswamis would meet. And he sometimes said, everything you need to know for the ultimate perfection of going back to go home, back to Godhead, your eternal identity in Sri Vrindavan, I've put it all in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He had to beg, he had to money to publish books in India in those days was very difficult. Just to get paper was almost impossible. You had to have so many connections. most people retire in such a beautiful place in Vrindavan. Simple and perfect. Why would he want to risk his life and endure so much challenge? Because this is the spirit that we're reading about in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. For a devotee to see all living beings equally means to see the potential within the soul to be happy with Krishna. And to make that our goal. Why? Samsadhya Haritosha. Because it pleases Krishna. Why did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to this world? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nagiranya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Shri Radha Govinda, having their eternal pastimes in the spiritual world of Goloka. And Advaitacharya is Karudakshayi Vishnu. And our scriptures describe he is simultaneously Sadashiva, the original Shiva of the spiritual world. Vaishnava Yudashana, Lord, she is the greatest devotee. Because the compassion of Sri Radha Govinda manifests so much through him. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of Lord Shiva are described in the context when he saw poison spreading throughout the universe. The demigods and the demons were treading ocean of milk. They were seeking nectar. But what was the first thing that emerged? The most deadly poison. It was so powerful and it was spreading so profusely that it was about to exterminate all life in the universe. And Lord Shiva saw, he didn't decide these people should drink the poison and these people shouldn't. Equal vision. He took all that poison by his yogic mystic powers and concentrated it so it could fit in the palm of his hand. It was like an ocean of poison, condensed. How powerful that was. Now what is he going to do with it? Anywhere he puts it, it's going to destroy life throughout the universe. He drank it. His throat became very dark blue. And his Kalakanta, Nilakanta, he's glorified. It's an ornament. And in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the greatest service one could render to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to show compassion for all living beings. Sadashiva, Mahavishnu, who creates everything that we know. He's among great devotees like Haridas Thakur, like Brahma, Srivasta, Pandit, who's Narada Muni. They're having kirtans. They're happy. They were having attending Sadhu Sangas every day. But yet, it is described Advaitacharya was crying for Radha and Krishna to descend in their original form into this material world to spread the Sankirtan movement. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes say that the purpose of all Vedas is a simple phrase: let all beings be happy. What is actual happiness? Brahma Sana. The only true happiness for the soul is to be in connection with the Supreme Soul. When Krishna is pleased, that's the only thing that gives happiness to the soul. And it is the singular means by which we can make actual spiritual advancement on the path of bhakti. What will please Krishna? Advaitacharya had everything, and yet he's crying, he's fasting, he's offering oblations of Ganga water and tulsi leaves, crying for Radha and Krishna to come to this world. And so many times in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaimed, the only reason I have come to this world is because Advaitacharya was crying for me. He wasn't doing it for himself. He was doing it for everyone. And it is described Haridas Thakur, when he was living in his cave in Fuliagram, when he was chanting 300,000 names of Krishna every day, he was also praying that the Lord would appear to bestow his mercy upon him. They were filled with the greatest happiness, tasting the sweetness of the holy names, yet and thinking of all of us. A few days ago, we celebrated the appearance of Lord Narasimha. And Prahlad Maharaj, who is glorified eternally in that pastime, he teaches his father and in his prayers to the Lord that unless one learns how to be equal to and kind to all living entities, one cannot achieve Krishna consciousness. And Prahlad Maharaj prayed, let the yogis and the jnanis go to Himalayas and to their sacred places to become purified in peace. But I want to be wherever the conditioned souls are suffering because they're striving to be happy without Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended. And actually, that's, according to Sukadeva Goswami, a prime reason Krishna descended. Mother Bhumi, the personified personality of the earth. Who is she the mother of? Everyone on the earth. That means all living entities. All varieties of humans, animals, birds, reptiles, fish, insects, plants and trees, there's life, there's the presence of the eternal soul. And Krishna and Sri Radha are the mother and father of all living entities. Mamayavam so jiva loke. Everyone is a part of Krishna. That's true understanding of life. And to the extent we understand that we are really a part of life, when we are no longer ruled over by the ahankara, the false ego, and we Bhagavad Gita as it is, when we understand who we actually are as we are forever. The testimony, we see that that same nature of the soul, that same sacred child of God within myself, is present wherever there is life. Prahlad Maharaj, he expressed his motivation to be equal to all living beings by striving and giving his existence to helping others be Krishna conscious. He described, I received this knowledge, this grace from Maharaj. How could I ever give service to him? And what is Narada's mission? He goes everywhere. He never stops preaching. Dhruva is Prahlad, the hunter Valmiki, the cruel hunter Murari. In this particular pastime, we're reading about the king Prachetibarhishat, who was actually lost in all kinds of karma kanda or materialistic religious ceremonies, and in the process causing harm to other living beings. Narada is so exalted, so great. When he saw that King Prachetibarhishat was so infatuated by his pseudo-religious endeavors. And he's a king, a descendant of Prithu Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj. How to reach him? He told the story about someone else, Radhanath. And it was such a fascinating story, the king was listening really attentively. Perhaps if Narada Muni was just saying, you are a Naya, King I'm sure he would have been very respectful, but he may not have heard what he was saying. So he was talking about somebody else being in Maya, and the whole process of how he got entangled. And at the end of the story, after the king received all this knowledge, he was transformed. He said, Narada Muniji, you're talking about me. And Narada Muni said, yes. And he became a great devotee. So how he's preaching. Vyasadeva was his disciple. And Vyasadeva wrote all these Vedic literatures. The Itihasas, the four Vedas, the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra, the Upanishads, and everything, the Samhitas. But still, he wasn't satisfied. And in the Himalayas on bank of Saraswati, Narada Muni came to him The hunter Lagrario is half killing animals because he loves to see others suffering by his power. It's really a perverted ego. And Vyastik was the incarnation, the literary incarnation of Krishna. He's giving everyone the same knowledge of bhakti according to their level. So you're not happy because you're not giving people unmotivated, uninterrupted, loving, devotional service to Krishna. You're not revealing his supreme pastimes in Vrindavan. So this Maharaj comes as Srivas Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. And with his brothers and their families, they're having kirtan day and night practically, crying and praying for Krishna to come to liberate the conditioned souls of this world. And Mother Earth, she's crying for us. And through her tears, and the tears of so many great devotees, Krishna came to this earth to reveal his pastimes out of his mercy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip was enjoying Krishna's Leela with his most intimate loving devotees. Nityananda Prabhu, his Baba, so many others. They're having kirtan day and night. They're having Harikathas. Can you imagine the Sadhu Sanga at Srila Sanga? They actually wouldn't even allow people, if you had a tinge of any material ego, you were not allowed to ask kirtan. But then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took that same opportunity and was giving it to everyone. And where he saw people were not receiving it, he wanted to reach them. Those people who were criticizing him, who were condemning him, who were trying to undermine him, he wanted to reach them too. What to speak of all the people in all the lands that weren't there around. And Srila Prabhupada explains with so much emotion how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. He left the most beautiful home with Sachimata and Vishnu Priya and all of his devotees in Navadvip Vrindavan to shave his head, to live a life of the deepest renunciation, just to give the fallen souls Krishna consciousness. The 6 Goswamis, Dira, they were well-wishing with affection to both the gentle and the ruffians. Now, ruffian means not just like a rough devotee. Ruffian in this context means people like time. They were equal to everyone. Nityananda Prabhu, who introduced Radhanath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with Haridas Thakur, that was their life. Mahaprabhu gave them the instruction, go to everyone and give them the holy name of Krishna. Give them the path of bhakti. Go to every bathing ghat, in every house, in every shop, and everyone you see. Give them this message. Krishna's your mother, Krishna's your
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I saw Jagai Madhai, and Nityananda Prabhu was thinking, what a good opportunity this is. So this is our line. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it very clear, this is the best way to please me. Srila Prabhupada's living in Vrindavan, but yet he understood with the profoundest realization, the best way to please Radha and Krishna is to carry out the instruction of my Guru Maharaj, to take the holy name of Krishna, the message of Krishna throughout the world. Can you imagine all those days in Javaduta, living in YMCA hotel, living, as Prabhupada said, like a vagabond, homeless in New York City, winter. He didn't even know us. Directly, at least, externally. But this is love of God. In that beautiful prayer, it's glorifying Lord Nityananda's person. He describes these prominent qualities that Lord Chaitanya wanted his devotees to imbibe. Namaruchi, to develop a real taste for the chanting of the holy names of Shri Shri Radha Govinda. Vaishnava Seva, to serve, to please the devotees. And Jivadoya, to be an instrument of Krishna, our Guru's compassion to all living entities. And we may not feel it, but we can do it. Shishika Prabhu, he is inspiring the Bhadra Purnima pastime, wherein we're distributing entire sets of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada so much emphasized this book distribution. So my humble request to everyone assembled here and devotees assembled wherever you may be in the universe, please let us take this very seriously. It's an opportunity. So when the devotees came back to Vrindavan with Srila Prabhupada, to his very home, where he was praying every day at the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami to empower him to reach all living beings in this world with this message of compassion. What a historical event. For the first time, there are devotees from various continents who are coming to Vrindavan, to his own eternal home, at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, to hear the nectar of devotion. And he gave these classes for 1 month. And the particular class I'm requesting you to hear, it is Nectar of Devotion, class number 13. So many incredible, all-encompassing, deep rasic instruction. He reads from Nectar of Devotion, and then he can, for 2 minutes, Prabhupada's comment. And in one place he's describing how Srimati Radharani is Krishna's internal energy. And by approaching bhakti through being the servant of Sri Radha, that is the path that Lord Chaitanya has. And then he describes that the sign of a devotee, please listen carefully, the sign of a devotee is that devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. We want to be recognized as a devotee. And from Srila Prabhupada in Krishna's eyes, the sign of a devotee is to always appreciate the activities of other devotees. And then Srila Prabhupada says the symptom of advancement in Krishna consciousness is we have no inclination to find faults in devotees. And then he describes how a devotee sees everyone else as more advanced than him or herself. Because he's seeing in terms of the supreme beauty and glory and greatness of Krishna. When Krishna is not in the center, we put our own egoistic identity in the center, and then we have so many comparisons. Or we're trying to infatuate the false ego. But what pleases Krishna, that's all important. What does it mean to put Krishna in the center? And here's the time is over. And I'd like to conclude in remembrance of His Holiness Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. How he imbibed this spirit of Srila Prabhupada. He was a personal eyewitness of how Srila Prabhupada took the order of his Guru Maharaj as his life and soul. And it was Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami's life and soul. Distributed tens of millions of books. He inspired tens of millions of plates of prasad. Built dozens of magnificent we had the presence of such a completely surrendered soul who emulated Srila Prabhupada's pure spirit of compassion. And even when his health was so difficult, even when there were so many obstructions, obstacles, and challenges, both within and without, in his life, he never hesitated or paused to carry forward what Srila Prabhupada desired, whether he was appreciated or not, understood or misunderstood. Yasya prasada bhagava prasada. His life was almost to please Srila Prabhupada. And we see this with many of those devotees. Both in the generation of the disciples of Prabhupada and the next generations, who are truly emulating and imbibing this spirit of following the footsteps of the great souls. During Sadhu Sanga retreat, let us very gratefully remember Srila Gopal Krishna Swami for the great gifts of his life example of pure devotion. And he was also one of the very prime persons to help build the Temple of Vedic Planetary. There's a booth outside for that. Bhadra Purnima, TLVP. So many opportunities for you. So during Sadhu Sanga, let us learn to respect, honor, and love one another by putting Krishna's holy name as in the center of our relationship. And Krishna's devotional service is our heart and soul. And by doing so, Srila Prabhupada will be pleased, our gurus will be pleased, Gaurnitai will be pleased, Shishipata Gopinath will be pleased. And everything else outside of pleasing Krishna is just entanglement and illusion. Krishna is eternally the supreme, all-beautiful personality of Godhead. Everyone is looking for that beauty, sweetness of love. Let us share it with one another during Sadhu Sanga and be inspired to share with the world. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Radhanath Maharaj, for your wonderful class. Next, the prasadam is being served, and please be back for Sri Prabhu at